Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So, I got an email from somebody, a subscriber, and they sent me a link to this thing, and I cannot even tell you how fast I bought this thing to make a video about it. I couldn't believe that this was a thing. Like, I don't know, I think this is a new product, and it is a mold press. So you can like use these plastic sheets to make a mold, like in seconds. So I watched a little video that is on their website. I got this from Michael's, by the way. I believe this is like a Michael's product. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not totally sure. So I watched a video on their website of how this works, and it's literally just like this thing that you hook up to a vacuum. And it like presses down on whatever object you want to make a mold of. So if you're interested to see if this will actually work and make molds that we can use with resin, then continue watching. I'm so excited to see if this will work. So first of all, thank you so much, Shauna, for sending me the link to this thing. Otherwise, I never would have known that this existed. I think this is a new product. So this thing is called Mold Press, and I'm going to show you the box now because it has a good picture of what it kind of does. So it's this, like, you have this tray here and it's between these two things, and you put your object here and it like pushes the plastic sheets down onto whatever object you're trying to make a mold of, and it makes a mold of it. So, and when I watched the video, they didn't say in the video that it works with resin, but I know that one of the things, the jewelry part of it, was resin. So they took like a little piece of wood, they made a mold of the piece of wood, and then they carved out part of the wood and made like a little pendant with it, with resin. And then also in the description of the product, it does say resin. So this is supposed to work with resin. And when I was watching the video, I was like, this is only gonna work, you know, for like cake things like frosting and fondant and stuff like that. So, but it says resin. So the entire machine itself is $129.99, and then the extra sheets were $39.99. And I tried to use a coupon that was 20% off your entire purchase. For some reason, it only went on to the extra sheet packet, so that made it $31.99. I don't know why the coupon didn't also go on to this. Whatever, it's not a big deal to me. So my total was $161.98 for the machine and the extra packet of sheets. So the box itself includes the machine, obviously, the mold press machine, magnetic frame, vacuum hose adapter, 4 plastic sheets, additional sheets sold separately, and then the instruction manual. Okay, so 4? 4? When I saw that, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to be able to get this thing to work in 4 tries. Plus, if it really does work, I want more than 4 molds. So I did go ahead and buy like another pack of the plastic sheets. This is 40 sheets, and this was $40. I was kind of hoping they would have like a 20 pack, so it would be $20 and not $40. But hey, that's just me. Anyway, so I'm going to start unpacking this thing, pull all the stuff out because it's got a bunch of like, you know, little pieces and things, and you know, I just kind of want to lay everything out and be able to show you guys all the pieces and the whole thing set up. So I will be right back, and when we come back, I'll have the whole thing ready to go. So I thought you guys would kind of want to watch me put it together because it's not that many pieces. I thought it was way more pieces when I was looking into the box. It's literally like the thing and then these 2 things. So I just thought that you guys would want to watch me put it together. Also, I was reading the warnings. Guess what I found?
What'd you find?
It says, operate mold press in well-ventilated space. Plastic sheets, when heated, can emit fumes. If you're sensitive to fumes, wear a mask. Can I not escape the fume thing?
Clearly not.
I work with resin, have to wear a respirator, and now I have to wear something when I work with this too. So it does say to work in, or have it sit on an uncluttered level space. I mean, all of my spaces are pretty cluttered, so I don't know what to do about that. Set base on clean level surface, vacuum port facing backwards.
Facing me.
Oh, there's the butt. Okay. We'll call this the butthole. I'm dumb. I'll flip it. I'll flip it around again. Okay. All right, edit everything else out.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the columns. Why did this one click in and this one's... There we go. Assuming if I line this one up, then the other one will just get lined up.
Looks good on this end.
Cool.
Push it a little bit further back.
There we go. Okay. Cool. It's getting pretty late, so I think we're gonna head out. The next few steps are just like the beginning of the directions to actually start using this thing. So I'm gonna leave this for tomorrow. I'm gonna come back and we're actually gonna use this thing. So yeah, place your bets if this thing is actually gonna work. Place them now. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so we're back. I had to assemble all the things. I have a mask for me and for Sean. I also have some like heat resistant gloves. Nobody make a comment about how they're two different gloves, please. Just let it go. I did get a shop vac, which is over here. It's very tiny and cute, courtesy of Apotheca. Thank you so much for letting me use that. So you plug it in here. It does give you like a little, thing if your hose is like too big or whatever. So, but I don't need that, and it fits literally perfect, like it was made for this mini shop vac. So that's kind of magical. We also have like a kind of close-up shot. I'll show you now so that you guys can like see what's gonna happen down here. And then we also have Sean behind the camera. Say hello.
Oh.
And I think we're ready. I have some objects that I hope will work. I also have a couple of like agate slices. So I also have a couple of seashells because in their video, they also did a seashell. And then I have this kind of big chunky crystals. So I did have to go back and like watch the video and see what the heck they were talking about in the directions. When I went back to watch the video, I noticed that there were a couple of reviews on it now. There's 2 reviews and it averages 2 stars. So who knows if this is even gonna work at all. So yeah, in the tips and tricks, it says something about having a heat gun to kind of like help shape, I don't know, I guess certain objects that have like sharp corners or like small details. And then one of the reviews also said that they had to use a heat gun to do the same thing. So I brought in one of my heat guns and I think we're ready. So I'm gonna have you suit up. This is the suit up dance. You have to do this before you put on your mask. I'm just kidding. But you can if you want. So I'm gonna press the button. Woo! There we go. I'm getting that blue button action. Yep. So we're gonna let that warm up. So I guess we just wait. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. So we've had it on for nearly 10 minutes. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's like kind of smoking. Can you see that? Just rest assured, it is smoking. It's coming out of the little vent on the top. It does kind of smell like, it kind of just smells like glue gun.
Yeah.
Okay. Mask.
Mask.
I hope you guys can hear me with my mask on. I'm going to try to, says, remove protective film from both sides of plastic sheet. Separate top and bottom of magnetic frame, insert plastic sheet. So this is the top and bottom pieces of the magnetic frame. And that's how they go together. So we're going to separate that and then take the film off, which like I can't even see. That's satisfying. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. So then we put it between here. It's got like little stopper things that seem to fit perfectly with the plastic sheet, so that you know that it is like secure in there. And then we're going to put this back on. Plastic sheet is there and secured in between the two like magnetic frames. Slide magnetic frame into mold press and magnetically secured to heater. Be careful not to touch heating element, as this can cause burns. I'm going to get my gloves on. I wonder if my grandpa has the same, like, because these are his. So I'm wondering if he has, like, the right one of this and the left one of this, and he's like, where did my other pairs go? Little does he know I have them. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I'm scared. Is it in? I think so. Okay, so it says, as plastic heats, it will start to droop and is ready to form when droop is approximately 1 inch. So I guess we wait for the plastic under there to start drooping to about 1 inch. Oh wow! Okay, so on the columns, they have little lines so that you can see like where 1 inch is. And that really helps. It's basically like almost there.
Right now.
I'm gonna do it now. I got scared. Yeah, so here's the thing. It's like the plastic does that droop thing, and it basically, like, instead of the whole square of, I can't pick it up, the whole square of plastic being drooped and like kind of warm and ready to mold something, it's like just one little bubble in the center of it. So that's what you see, like this like circle of ridge is that bubble. So it's not the entire thing of plastic that's warming up, it's just that center bubble. So I think the plastic is all cooled off now, and I think, so it says, turn on vacuum when plastic is formed on an object and plastic is cooled slightly. So when we were going over the directions again, that part I just read out way too fast. I think what we were supposed to do is keep the vacuum on while the plastic is cooling. I turned it off really quick because, you know when you're vacuuming and something gets caught in the vacuum and it makes that sound, it goes from like a nice, like you're vacuuming, and it goes to like, because there's something stuck in there. Yeah, and you think your vacuum is gonna explode. So like you like rush to turn it off or unplug it, whatever. I feel like that's just what I did, right?
Instinct took over.
Yeah, kinda. Like, I don't know, what if this thing just, it's just the sound of a vacuum getting clogged, I hate. So I think next time that we do it, I'm gonna have to just deal with that sound and see if I can like leave it on for longer while the plastic is cooling off. But anyways, oh, there we go. Just pop that out. So there's what the mold looks like. Can you guys like see the ridges of it? So that's what it looks like. It looks pretty good. I mean, obviously the like hole in the agate is like, you know, all the way through, it's a hole. But this one, I imagine when I pour resin into this, it's just gonna be like a little divot in it and it's not gonna be a hole all the way through. I'm pretty excited to try it. The thing I'm not, like I felt like this could make this a mold of something, just by like the description of it and how it works. But what I'm not sure about is whether resin will be able to pop out of this. I do know that people use plastic molds like this. I think I've actually used one myself. It was a mold that I got from like a, you know, cake decorating store, and they're like candy molds that are like this. So I'm hoping it'll work. I think the next one we'll do is this, and then I'm probably gonna try to leave the vacuum on while it cools off and see if it will make that pocket, or not really the pocket, but like the hole to the other side. And then we're gonna load it in here, and then we'll put the magnet thing back on. Plastic. I slid the plastic past like the metal part that's really hot under there. So maybe when I slid this past to put it in, it like kind of melted it just a little bit. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because it didn't melt this side. I'm actually starting to think that that's what happened.
Yeah, that must
is
be
when
what
I
happened.
slid it on, it melted it because I accidentally hit the little metal part up there and it was really hot. Yeah. So when you're sliding it on, make sure you don't like graze the metal part, because it could melt instantly. Instantly melt the plastic. Okay, so I think it's warmed up. I'm gonna put my gloves on and then slide the little frame in with the plastic. So I'll slide it down here, and then once it hits like this part here, once it hits the columns, you know that it's like in, you know, it's lined up. And then you can kind of slide it up and it magnetizes. So I feel like you don't have to slide it in right at the top. You can slide it in, and once it hits the columns, you should be lined up and ready to push up and magnetize. Okay, I'm turning it on. Ready? Ready. Here we go. For the next two things, I'm probably going to time lapse it. So I have a seashell that I'm going to try to do just because it's got like a weird shape and it's got a little more detail, and I want to see what it does with that. And then I've also got this crystal that I'm going to try to make a mold of. So I'm going to time lapse both of these, and then once they're both done, we'll come back and kind of look at them and see all the molds we've made. So I'll see you guys once all the molds are done. Okay, so we went ahead and finished up the other two. So I have a seashell one, and then I have the crystal one. The crystal one was pretty difficult to get out. They, like I said earlier, they have like a tips and tricks section, and in there it says that you might have to like rough up. Like if something is really shiny and smooth, you might have to rough up the object. And so maybe that's why the crystal being shiny, it just kind of like stuck to the plastic. So it was really hard to pop out the crystal from this, and it kind of like maybe a little bit like damaged it on the end there, but I think it kind of just adds to the like crystally texture that was already pretty rough on the bottom, so I don't think it's a big deal. And then we did have to like keep trying with the seashell one. We finally got it to work here with this one, but with one of them I was trying to like warm up the plastic a little bit so that it could like form to the shell a little bit more. And then I ended up like warming it up too much. It got really thin, and then it just kind of like put a hole through it. It made the most terrifying sound. So you can like kind of burst holes through them if you warm it up too much. But yeah, this is what we've got so far. I'm probably gonna come back tomorrow and pour some resin in these. I was actually thinking, instead of doing alcohol ink in these, I think what I'm gonna do, because I have these like sheets of vinyl that are like iridescent, they kind of change color as you move them around. So I think instead of alcohol ink in these, I'm gonna probably like cut out the perfect shape of each mold and put like a little sheet of like iridescent, like color shift kind of vinyl in the back. So that way when we pop them out, we can kind of move them around. And I think that'll look really cool. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for when we pour some resin in these and some vinyls and see how these work. Everybody cross your fingers that we can pop resin out of these. Okay guys, we are finally at the end of this journey, and I definitely have some thoughts on this thing. I feel really bad because I shared a picture of this machine on my Instagram and, you know, just showing you guys what was coming next week, what the video was going to be about. And so many people messaged me and they were super excited to see this thing, and I honestly didn't know that these existed. Apparently they're called vacuum formers. And so people were just really excited that I was doing a video with this thing. So I feel bad coming on here and maybe saying what I have to say. But I want to be totally honest with you guys. For resin, we're just going to talk resin first. If you're going to buy this thing, or if you were thinking about buying this thing for, you know, making molds to work with resin, I think I would say no. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's a no, because these molds are not reusable. I had to like go back, make new ones. So what you guys saw of me making these pieces with the like color changing foils in the back, they cured really weird. I could not get them out without ruining the molds. So for the seashell and the crystal, I did have to make 2 other ones, and I went in again with a hard curing resin. So the first round I did go in with a casting resin because, you know, we're casting objects, and I thought that that would be the best resin to use. Apparently not. It cured really weird and like super, super soft, and it like really clung to the plastic. So I basically had to ruin the molds to get these things out. And then so when I went in with the second set of all the same molds, I made 2 new molds of the seashell and the crystal because I wanted to try again. I went in with like a really hard curing resin, and it was still so difficult to pop out, and I ended up ruining the new ones that I made. So this is the seashell one. It's just completely like destroyed. And the crystal one, this is the second round of the seashell and the crystal. This is the first round. I mean, they're all just kind of messed up and destroyed. There's holes in them because I had to like basically break them and like use an X-Acto knife to kind of like break the bond between the plastic sheet and the resin. So for me, I'm always trying to find things that are as reusable as possible. So making a silicone mold, while it is expensive and is hard work, I'm sure, I've only made like a handful of silicone molds. It is a lot of work, but they're reusable, like so reusable, you know what I mean? Like you can reuse them a ton of times. I have molds that I bought like last year or whatever, you know what I mean? So for me, silicone molds is the way to go. The thing with this thing though is that you literally have a mold instantly. Like you can make a mold of a seashell or whatever like in seconds once you've got it warmed up. You have to like set it up, warm it up for 10 minutes, and then put the plastic in, let that warm up, and then you can make the mold. But you have it in seconds. So if you have like a bunch of small things, you know, with this particular machine, you can't really do super large objects, you know, bigger than your hand, you can't really do. So if you have like a lineup of small objects that you want to make a mold of, and you have, you know, a bunch of these like plastic sheets, you know, you can just kind of go at it and make molds of things, and it's instant, you know what I mean? That part is really great. But you can't really reuse them. As far as like in my experience, I went through so many of these already, and I've basically broken all of them to get my resin pieces out. So in my experience, they're not really reusable. I mean, especially compared to silicone molds, you really can't compare them. And I realize that they're 2 very different things. They're very different methods. They're very different materials. I understand that. I'm well aware of it. It's just that if I'm going to make molds of things, I definitely want it to be reusable as possible. Obviously, you can't use a silicone mold like forever. They do get dull, or if you scratch them. But with these, they're easy to bend, they're easy to crinkle, easy to put holes in. With this machine too, you're also going through so much plastic. I mean, each plastic sheet has 2 like pieces of plastic film that are over it. So you have to like peel both sides off, and then you slide it in, you can make your mold. So those 2 plastic sheets, and then this, and they're not really, in my experience, reusable. it's just a lot of plastic, I feel like. It's a lot. So here's a clip of the 2 sets of small objects that we made. The first set I'm going to show you is the casting resin set that kind of like cured really soft and like stuck to it. And then the second set is going to have the like harder curing resin. So here are those clips. So I'm sure you guys can see in those clips that you know, these plastic sheets also lose a little bit of detail. You know, especially in the seashell, I feel like it just, you know, if you were making a mold with silicone, I feel like it would get every single detail in the seashell. And with these plastic sheets, it does kind of like smooth out the details a little bit. Now that could be because I didn't leave the vacuum on for long enough, or I could have used a heat gun. In my experience, I did try the heat gun, and in my experience, it just made it so thin that it either bursted the plastic, like it put a hole in it, or it made it so like tight around the object that if I were to pour resin into it, I wouldn't be able to pop the object out of the mold, you know? So I don't know, I tried the heat gun technique a couple of times. I tried it really far away so that it wasn't too much heat. I tried like my lowest possible setting with the heat gun. So I don't know, in my opinion, this particular machine, if you're gonna be using it to make molds for resin, I don't know if it's worth it. I really don't. I really wanted it to be worth it. I feel bad saying this. I feel bad saying like, oh, it's not worth it and I don't like it. But I don't know, I wanna be honest. Now, if we're going to make things, like if you were to make a mold of a seashell, and then like, because I saw in the video, you know, you can do like scrapbooking with this. There's a bunch of other things. This isn't just for making molds for resin. This is for like a bunch of other crafts, you know what I mean? So you can make a mold of a seashell and then like cut it out and like glue it onto something for like some kind of art project. That I think is really cool. So besides resin, because it does have resin in the description of the item, it also says you can use it for chocolate, you can use it for, you can paint them, you can cut them out, you can do all kinds of stuff with this thing. So if you're gonna use it for other things besides resin, I mean, I obviously didn't experiment with that side of it, so it could be worth in that regard, like if you're gonna use it for scrapbooking or like, you know, any kind of other projects where you might paint it or something like that. I think that might be really cool. As far as resin, like making molds for resin, I probably would say no, personally. You know, that's just my opinion though, and that's just how I feel about it. If you saw it, you know, working in this video and you feel like you have a purpose for it, I could totally see that. It is a really, really cool machine. I do think it would be really useful in other spaces, you know what I mean, if you're doing something else, like I said, with other kinds of projects. But since this machine is like something that already exists, I for some reason thought that Michael's like came up with this idea. I had no idea that it was you know, a vacuum former, that it was already a thing. So if there's another one out there that might work better than this, please leave that in my comments, because like I said, I'm interested in this idea. I really wanted it to work. I really wanted to love it. And also let me know if you have one of these. It doesn't obviously have to be this Michaels one, but if you have a vacuum former and it works really great for you, let me know, because this is my first time using one. I've never used one of these before. If you do have one and you have a way that it works, or you have one that in particular is really great, I really want to know what it is. I mean, this was honestly so much fun to use. Once you get the hang of this thing, it is really fun to use. I mean, you know, you're just like pressing plastic onto like little objects and you're making instant molds of things. It's really fun. I don't know, you guys, let me know what you think of this machine. I want to know your full thoughts. If you would use this for other things, like not resin stuff, or if you do use this for resin stuff, if you've been looking for one of these, I want to know your full thoughts down in the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it, you know, gave you some insight onto these machines, or if you've been looking into this particular one. I hope that it helped you in some way. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram. It is at Artsymadwoman. I love you guys so freaking much, you have no idea, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. Hey everyone. Okay. So the box itself includes I hate you. Bro, you don't roll up and start yelling. Why do you have to say that?
I waited a bit of time so that you could edit it out.
Edited it out.
Edit it out.
In there, shut up. Tell it to shut up.
Shut up, man.
Did you say ma'am?
Man.
So I brought in my... I slid the plastic past the, like... So I don't know. I feel like this one is... Does that help you see it better?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Not really. So... Yeah. You can... And also... Oh, I had a hair on my lip that whole time.